Hey guys, happy Friday. It's Jo of SportsGrid. It's time for a pocket with Jo. Sorry, we're a couple minutes late here. It actually helps if you hit the go live button when you start the show. Just technical difficulties on my own. I hope everyone's having a fantastic start to the Friday. Appreciate you guys for being here. No, Chip, I have not heard about that time. Have to definitely hear about that sometime. So, it is a Friday. Yeah, Belichick. I know. Belichick not having a role right now. I really thought he was going to the Falcons. So we'll see what happens for Bill Belichick. Where we've got 4 games on the ice. And right away, I'm going to tell you guys, I like all 4 of these games to the under. I really do think we have low scoring defensive battles out there on the ice tonight, and I don't see any of these going over the total. Now, that's scary when you're looking at 4 games, especially when we look at the Florida Panthers versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. We got such offensive firepower on both sides of the puck, and I do think the Vegas Golden Knights and the New York Rangers the same thing. But I do think defense and goaltending steps up in all of these games. So automatically it is the under for me in all of these games, but we're going to break down each and every one. Let me know which game you feel most comfortable riding that under in. I think if I was looking at which game I would feel most comfortable, it definitely is the St. Louis Blues versus the Seattle Kraken. Looking at what both goaltenders have been able to do as of late, that is my most comfortable under. And then I do think it's the Florida Panthers and the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the LA Kings. We've got across the board, we've got really solid defenses, solid goaltending tonight. So give me all of the unders. And now let's start breaking these games down individually. So the first one we're going to look at here is the Vegas Golden Knights taking on the New York Rangers. Now, current odds on this one, Vegas, the road dog at plus 138. Minus 166 for the New York Rangers. Total of 5.5. This one has dropped from 6.5. So it's plus 106 to the under in this one. I can't believe it did do that drop. Looking at this one, Aiden Hill. Let me just double check if Aiden Hill is confirmed. So we got Aiden Hill confirmed in goal for the Las Vegas Golden Knights, and we have the New York Rangers starting Igor. Now, both of these goaltenders have fantastic numbers out there. Aiden Hill comes in with a 1.93 goals against average and a 935 save percentage. His save shots on goal tonight numbers coming in at 27.5. Now, this is a pretty solid number here. The New York Rangers are solid defensively, holding opponents to 28.6 shots on goal. We know the Vegas Golden Knights can get there, but with Jack Eichel not on the ice, I'm not wanting to take this one that way, because I do think Vegas will lock down on the defensive side, and I don't see the explosiveness come out of them, and I think their defense will stop the explosiveness out of the New York Rangers tonight. So I do expect the Rangers still to get some shots, but just not as many to push us over that 27.5. And I can't take it to the under, so I would stay off. And then looking at Igor Shesterkin, his number is coming in at 24.5. This number seems too low, but I do think both of these goaltenders go under this, because I am looking for that top defensive battle out there on the ice. So I don't love the goalie props in this matchup, but I do think if you're going to take them, even though it's scary to take those unders, that is where I would go. Now, when we look at the New York Rangers, this is the first game home off a road trip for them. They went 1-3 on that road trip. So they're off the loss to the Sharks in OT on Tuesday. They've been home for a couple of days. It's not like they're just getting home for this one, but I think Vegas can pull off this win. Vegas did win this battle back on January 18th, and they won it in a grand fashion, winning that one of 5-1. I love the plus money we're getting on Vegas right now, considering as well they've won 7 of the last 10 matchups. So I was distracted. Something was happening outside. They won 7 of the last 10 matchups. So they're getting out here on the road. This is game 1 on the road for them. This is the first night of a back-to-back. They do have the Red Wings on deck tomorrow, but Vegas knows they absolutely need every win they can get out there on the ice. And now, because I'm liking it to the under, I'm not looking at those player props, but if you're looking at some players to get those shots on goal, I definitely consider Mark Stone. We know he's been really stepping up with Jack Eichel out of the lineup. Chris Kreider here for the New York Rangers, Panarin, and Adam Fox. I like Adam Fox's ability to be able to get things done as well. Hang on just one second. Okay, so I would look at Adam Fox here, offensive defenseman. I love what we're seeing out of him. He's been able to get the points on the board in 7 of his last 10 games. So looking at him for the point, Panarin under 1.5, that definitely is a solid way to go. Hill in maybe. Yeah, I'm seeing Aiden Hill confirmed. So I'm seeing him definitely in there. You're liking the team total over 3.5. I understand why you're liking that over 3.5. I just am looking for across the board low scoring games in this one tonight. So Joe coming in with the go crack, and I appreciate you guys for being here for sure. Forsling over 1.5 shots, Reinhardt over a half. I guess it's a point for the point, and Pittsburgh under 1.5. Gunsel. Okay, I like where you're going there, Doug. And we got Ben jumping in. Rangers need to get back in the game tonight. They really do. I wish your Rangers well. I just look at the value we're getting on the New York Rangers, and my dogs are gonna bark. I promise you, this is not Amazon does not come every day, and they're standing looking at the Amazon door. There's more dog treats coming because I ordered 2 packs and only 1 pack came yesterday during the show. So let's get on to the next game here, though. First night of a back-to-back. Oh, and he's moving on for the New York Rangers as well. They've got the Ottawa Senators on deck tomorrow. I just don't know. The Rangers have been a strong team. They've won. Vegas won the last matchup and the Rangers won the 2 prior, and I could absolutely see them being able to get the win. The value just isn't there in a low-scoring game. I think Vegas should be able to get it done. The Florida Panthers take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, the Florida Panthers won the last matchup back in December. It was a 3-1 win. They're coming in here at minus 137 on the money line, plus 144, or sorry, plus 114 here for the Penguins. Now, this total is at 6.5. The unders juiced to minus 128. You guys know I'm leaning on the unders in all of these games. If you think this one is a 4-3 style game, which we know it very much could be, and I think the only way it goes 4-3 is if we see overtime in this game with that late goal scored by the team to tie it up, and then we go to OT. So I'm going to take the under 6.5 at minus 128. There still is value, and I think we have a home dog in the Pittsburgh Penguins. I love them plus the 112. We know how strong this team has been playing, and while they lost their last 2, I do think this is a nice opportunity for them here at home to get back on a track. Now, the Florida Panthers have been playing excellent. They've won their last 2. They got the win on Wednesday over the Arizona Coyotes, and they did win this battle back in December, like I said, 3-1. Road wise, they've been fantastic. They've won their last 5 road games, but I look at this and I do believe it's a battle of the goaltending here. Bobrovsky is in net for the Florida Panthers tonight. He's got a 2.53 goals against average and a 909 save percentage. Now, his save shots on goal tonight coming in at 27.5. I wouldn't take this to the over. Because the Florida Panthers defensively are so solid at really limiting opponents. I expect maybe 24, 25 shots on goal by the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight because the Florida Panthers only allowing that 27.2. I really do think they lock down completely on the defensive side of the puck. They've got a strong keel here at 82.4% as well. And when we look at the Pittsburgh Penguins, Alex Nevalkovich, I always struggle saying his name, is in net tonight. Now, it's not Tristan Jarry, and Tristan Jarry has been kind of up and down in some of these games. So I'm actually excited to see Nevalkovich in net. He's got a 2.66 goals against average and a 916 save percentage. Now, his over save shots on goal tonight is 28.5. I do think that is the right way to go. We look at the Pittsburgh Penguins, they're allowing an average of 30.4. I do think the Florida Panthers get just enough to go over this. And while I do think they lock down on the defensive side, I think Nevalkovich will face at least 30 shots in this one. So I'm going to take him over the 28.5. Again, I think this is a lower scoring battle here. So it's a little risky taking those save shots when I think this is a pretty even game as well between these two. But I do think the Florida Panthers rattle off more shots in this game. They're averaging 34.4 shots on goal per game. Their power play is clicking at 22.3%. So we should see a solid night out of this team. Both of these offenses have the firepower and the star power out there, but I do think it's going to come down to goaltending and defenses in this one. The weaker of the defense is the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they'll have to rely more on their goaltender, Nevalkovich, in the net to save those shots. So That is what I'm relying on for this one to go under. So it does coincide for me for taking his safe shots on goal. So give me the under 6.5. In the past 10 meetings, they've gone 6-3-1 to that under. So I love the under here. If you're looking at player props, and again, when I am betting unders, I'm not really jumping on those player props. But if you're looking for some player props tonight, we know how strong Sam Reinhart has been, Sam Bennett, Matthew Tkachuk, Barkov even, and Brandon Montour. He got us that anytime goal in the last game. He made us sweat. It was plus 650. But on the Florida Panthers side of things, those would be the players I would be circling. Now, if you're looking at the Penguins side of things, you can't not look at Sidney Crosby, Ryan Russ, Malkin, and Erik Karlsson, the defensive player there. I would look at his block shots on net as well. I really do think we're starting to see, especially now that we're going into the All-Star break. And once we get out of that All-Star break, a lot more books will be having those block shots on goal props out there. And I do like looking at them, especially for a defenseman that plays so strong like Erik Karlsson. He is an offensive defenseman as well, so you can take him for those shots. You're normally getting a good number there. Yeah, if you guys could hit that like button, greatly appreciate it. Happy Friday to everyone. Ben, thank you so much. We'll see. It's going to be a great game between Vegas and the Rangers tonight. Yeah, you know what? I actually would look at sprinkling on, like you said, a couple of these games to go to OT tonight. I think the Florida Panthers and the Pittsburgh Penguins absolutely could go to overtime. Vegas and the Rangers absolutely could go to overtime. All four of these games have the perfect opportunity. I just hope all four of these don't go over. With going to OT. So we're looking for a big lockdown here. That is for sure. Kelly, thank you for being here. And Jimmy, when we're looking at the Rangers in Vegas, I got to go with the plus money in Vegas in a low scoring game. I just can't find the value there with the New York Rangers tonight. So good morning, everyone. Okay. Let's get on to the next game. The LA Kings taking on the Colorado Avalanche. The Kings need to get back on track. Looking at their last 14 games, they're sitting 2-7-5. This team has been struggling, and they've been struggling on the defensive side of the puck. Now, I don't know if you guys watched their last game and you saw Drew Doughty after the game basically calling out his teammates. I couldn't believe it. I took a clip of it, so I will post it on my socials later. I totally forgot to post the video, but basically he said his teammates care more, some more, or he said basically most of his teammates care more about getting their points than they do their team actually winning the game. So huge call out of his teammates in that. I'm sure he's not too popular in that locker room. If the Avs really hit him hard, I don't know if anyone's going to stand up for him in this game today, but I do think looking at the LA Kings here, they are the right side. They won the last matchup back in December 4-1. They were at home in that one. And when we look here at them, I do think them getting out here on the road after losing their last two, after being at home, this is a place that they can get back on track. Now, this is game one of a 3-game road trip. A lot of these teams play tomorrow, but we look here at the Avs. This is their last game before the All-Star break. And then there's a couple of teams like the Kings that have a couple more left. So they play the Blues on a Sunday and the Predators on Wednesday. And the Avs are in vacation mode after tonight. That gives me even more reason to want to back the Kings here with the Avs ready to take time off. They've had a really solid record so far this season. So they are cruising right now in the league. They're sitting 31-14, 2-1 overall on the season. So I love where the Avs are sitting. I think they I think they put in a big effort tonight. I think it's a defensive effort, and I think the Kings need to lock down defensively. So let's look at the lines on this one. The LA Kings were actually losing value on them now. They're still plus 118 on the money line, but I do like that. Minus 142 here for the Colorado Avalanche, and total of 6.5. Now you're going to have to lay that juice to the under at minus 122, to the over at plus 100. But I think this one even stays under a total of 5.5. I know how strong the Avs are at home. When you look at this team offensively at home, their average goals per game goes from 3.81 on the season to 4.29 at home. So it is scary to step in front of them and call for an under game when they are so strong on the offensive side of the puck on their home ice. I just don't see it coming through tonight. I really do think the LA Kings, we know the heart of this team. When this team is able to win games, yes, they step up offensively, but their defense absolutely is key to locking down. They overall in the season, and they haven't been doing good as of late. Overall, they average 2.58 goals per game allowed, 27.8 shots on goal, and their kills coming in at 87.5%. We know as of late, this team has been absolutely struggling. But on the road, you look at them here on the road, they're sitting 14-5-3, still on the road for the season. They've won their last 2 meetings in Colorado as a dog. So they won the last one in December at home. And the 2 games prior were in Colorado, and the Kings were able to win it. So I do think this is a nice spot to jump on the Kings and the under. And you guys know I love that plus money. So could be a good one there. Yeah, the All-Star break is right around the corner. We're going to talk some futures over the All-Star break, so make sure you turn on those notifications because we are still going to be doing some Pocket with Joe's, and make sure you check out the SportsGrid app. We're putting up hockey bets on there as well as my NFL bets. If you go on there and follow me as one of the hosts, you'll be able to see it under the shorts. And there's also clips from the shows. So if you miss any of the live shows, more than likely there will be a clip there afterwards. Let's look at the last game here. We have the St. Louis Blues taking on the Seattle Kraken. This Kraken team, I tell you, they've won their last 7 as a favorite. They've been playing good hockey, minus 176 here for them, plus 146 for the St. Louis Blues, total of 5.5. You're getting plus money to the under, and that's where I got to go at plus 108. I do think this is probably one of the lowest scoring games of the whole night. When we look at the St. Louis Blues, they've been rolling through the Pacific. I actually can't believe what they've been able to do. So they got the win over Vancouver in OT in their last game. That was a 4-3 win. So they had a higher scoring one. They were able to fight back on the Calgary Flames and get the win there. And I was devastated. You guys know I was devastated, but really impressed with what we've seen out of them now. Joe Hofer was in net in Vancouver. So we do have Jordan Binghamton here tonight for St. Louis. He's been solid this season. Versus the Seattle Kraken, he's 2-1 in his career with a 912 save percentage. And overall in the season, he's got a 2.98 goals against average and a 906 save percentage. When we look at Joey Daccord here, Joey Daccord has been lights out. He's got a 2.32 goals against average on the season and a 0.922 save percentage. When we look at him, since the beginning of December, he's gone 11-4-2. He is posting a crazy 942 save percentage over that period of time with a 1.82 goals against average. I cannot see a St. Louis Blues team, and even though they've scored on Vancouver and they scored on Calgary, to be able to come out as strong offensively in this one with Joey Daccord in net. Joey Daccord has just been running way too hot. But then when we look at Binghamton, his last 8 starts, he's been on fire as well. He's 5-2-1 in those last 8 starts. He's got a 928 save percentage and a 2.12 goals against average. So I expect both of these goaltenders to absolutely bring everything they've got tonight. Both of these teams do have 2 more games on deck before the All-Star break. We see the St. Louis Blues with the Kings on deck at home on Sunday, then the Columbus Blue Jackets on Tuesday. And we do see the Seattle Kraken. They play the Columbus Blue Jackets on Sunday, and then they have to go to San Jose to play the Sharks on Tuesday. Now, both these teams have been winning. We know the Seattle Kraken are off that win over the Chicago Blackhawks at home. They got a huge win, a 6-2 there. They won their last 2 prior versus the St. Louis Blues, because St. Louis did win the last battle back in October, 2-1. It was a shootout. Binghamton stopped 30 of 31 shots on goal in that game for them to be able to get the win. So we're going to look at some goalie props in this one. I hadn't written them down yet because they actually were not live before the show started. Now it's only Jordan Binghamton here. Jordan Binghamton has a save shots on goal prop of 26.5 to minus 112 to the over. The high danger shots just aren't coming for either of these teams. these teams offensively, when we look at the Seattle Kraken, they really are relying on their power play to be able to convert the goals. Now, they still are averaging 29 shots on goal, and the St. Louis Blues giving up 31.9. I do think with the St. Louis Blues playing so many games here on the road, especially the hard battles they've had in the Pacific, the Seattle Kraken will be able to get those shots on Jordan Binghamton, even though I think they're offensively a little bit anemic right now. But 26.5 looks a little too low in this one. I do think Jordan Binghamton can have a strong night. We see the Seattle Kraken averaging right on 29. The Blues allowing that 31. So 26.5, I think, is in reason to take him to the over. Like I said, I expect both of these goaltenders to stand on their heads tonight. So I'm going to take that as well. The Seahawks or the Kraken. I saw Seattle and just wanted to say Seahawks. Laying the 1.5 on the Kraken. If you like the 1.5 on the Kraken, I don't mind it. My problem with that is I'm expecting a lower scoring game. So laying the 1.5 is plus 146. You're getting value on that puck line. So I don't hate that at all. I do think it would be much better than taking the Seattle Kraken here in regulation. But the St. Louis Blues are rolling pretty hot right now. I almost like the plus 1.5 a lot better. I do think this is a 1-goal game. My problem with that is the juice that we're having to lay at minus 176. I would look at this game for that first period, and I'm just going to pull up the odds there for the no goal in the first 10 minutes. The no goal in the first 10 minutes coming in at plus 108. I do think that is a really solid way to go. And then I'll look at that first period under 1.5. Now, I tell you, some of these games I have been liking those first periods to the under, and it just hasn't been coming in. But I do think this is a good one. Under 1.5 in the first period is minus 116 for this game. Now, again, I am liking all lower scoring ones. So I wouldn't be looking at any goal scorers in these matchups. I'd be looking at the shots on goal, maybe, especially because I'm looking for hot goaltenders tonight. But if you do want to look at someone for the Seattle Kraken, I'd look at Jared McCann here. He's been phenomenally strong out there on the ice. And then an offensive defenseman I like is Vince Dunn. So always trying to give you an offenseman and a defenseman for those points, for those shots on goal, because I think there's so much more value on those defensemen, just harder to hit those props. Now, when we go back to the LA Kings, I told you guys about Drew Doughty, his outburst there. I probably would think he gets on the board tonight. If anyone's to get on the board tonight, again, I'm not going to be betting it, but I would lean to Drew Doughty. And then Cale Makar. Cale Makar has been so fantastic. Again, another offensive defenseman for the Colorado Avalanche. I would look at him. Rantanen has been able to hit 2 points in 6 of his last 10 games. So if you think Rantanen's going to get on the scoreboard, maybe this is one where be cautious in these games, again, because I think all of these games are lower scoring, but there is players that are going to get goals. None of these games are going to finish 0-0. So Rantanen would be someone I would be looking at. But I would look at the goal scorers tonight instead of those points, because you're going to have to lay so much with the points, and you don't want to take over 1.5 points or 2+ points in a game that's going to be low scoring. But that is everything for me, you guys. My favorite goalie prop definitely is Jordan Binghamton to the over. I am still waiting for Jordan Binghamton to lose his cool this season. Hasn't happened yet, but I do think the St. Louis Blues are dominating on this road trip. It is hard to step in front of them, but Seattle probably gets that win. Okay, guys, I will be back tomorrow. Make sure you turn on those notifications. We will probably do an early Puckett Cup of Joe. There's 14 games on the slate tomorrow. Already starting to look at these games. The first couple kicking off, the Boston Bruins and the Philadelphia Flyers. Neither of these teams playing today. The Boston Bruins right now are like minus 150 on the money line. I do think they can beat the Philadelphia Flyers. So if you like the Boston Bruins right now, that is exactly where I'd be going with that one. The Washington Capitals and the Dallas Stars play at 2 p.m. Eastern, and then everything else is a 4 o'clock onwards time slot there. the Predators and the Edmonton Oilers, 4 p.m. Eastern on that one. Corey Perry will be making his first start as an Oiler. It was kind of funny how they didn't start him versus the Chicago Blackhawks. I wanted to see that, but they did not do that. And we all knew they weren't going to do that. I'm sure it was part of the deal, not making him start versus Chicago. But I do think here the Edmonton Oilers probably roll over the Nashville Predators. But like we did last night, you guys, looking at that matchup, you have to look at the Nashville Predators team total. We wrote the team total last night, or versus Chicago for their team total to the under. It was 1.5. We were able to hit it. We got plus 150 on that. I expect another game like that. Edmonton is so strong at locking down on the defensive side of the puck right now. Stuart Skinner is playing lights out. This is not something that we're used to saying for the Edmonton Oilers. So first look at that one. 6.5 is just way too high. I definitely think that is a lower scoring battle. Can the Predators take the win over Edmonton? I don't think so. Ever since Edmonton beat Calgary, I thought they would roll into the All-Star break without losing. And now I did think this game was in Nashville. I'm seeing it's now in Edmonton, which is really interesting. I really thought they had to travel to Nashville for that one, but looks like Edmonton is there. And then Toronto and Winnipeg. We've got a great slate of games tomorrow. I'm excited for it. I will be live on Sports Rage tonight, so come over and join me. I'll be joining Gabe and Cam for the top of the hour, 10 o'clock Eastern. So I should be on for about an hour. So come on over. Let's make some freaking money. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. You guys have a fantastic day. Vegas night is a trap game. You think so? Man, I think Vegas can get the win. So what's the price for Binghamton for a shutout? Actually, Binghamton for the shutout, that would be phenomenal to see. I could see it happening. So if anyone has those shutout prices, FanDuel isn't offering that right now. Let us know what Binghamton is for the shutout. I don't hate it. We look at the Seattle Kraken, and I don't trust them offensively at the moment. Now, Jared McCann was able to get us a goal last game. They've had some really strong performances, but Jordan Binghamton has been playing phenomenal, and he's played phenomenal versus Seattle. So I could see that being a 1-0, a 2-0 win for the St. Louis Blues. It would be very interesting to see. Yeah, no one burned that dinner tonight. That is for sure. Yeah, Edmonton, I just don't see Edmonton losing before the All-Star break comes. So, once they get back out of the All-Star break, it's a real shame for them going into this All-Star break because all the momentum is there. And I'm trying to think who Edmonton plays after they come out of the All-Star break. It was a pretty hard schedule. I can't remember if it was the New Jersey Devils straight out, but when I looked at their schedule ahead out of that All-Star break, this team is going to have to absolutely bring everything that they have when they get back. Now, I listened to Darnell Nurse talking about how their offense are just not feeling like they're getting there, but defensively they're locking down, and that's where they're trying to go with their team and everything like that. So, yeah, they come out of the All-Star break and they have to go to Vegas to play the Vegas Golden Knights, and then they play the Ducks and then the Kings. So a 3-game road trip out of the break, and then a 1 game at home versus the Red Wings, and then they have another 3 on the road, the Blues, the Stars, and the Coyotes. Then they're at home versus the Bruins, the Bruins, the Wild, and Calgary, and the Kings, and the St. Louis Blues. So they've got a pretty hard schedule in February, a lot of road games in February. So we'll see what they can do, but it's unbelievable this stretch that they are on. I don't know. I really like what we're seeing out of them on the defensive side, which I've never been able to say about this team. So you guys will be back tomorrow. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. Let's make some freaking money. And Matt, for the shout out on Binghamton, plus 1,500. How can we not sprinkle a little bit of money on that? Doug, thanks for loving this mess that I do call my hair. It had a mind of its own today. I had to pull it off my face. If you guys could smash that like button, I would so appreciate it. Thank you, Joe. I'll be back here tomorrow. Turn on those notifications, hit those retweets, and let's make some freaking money out there on the ice tonight. Bye, guys.